Free will accountability is a big deal when it comes to your relationship with your guides. You have to be accountable for what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. This is your life. You have written this role, and it's your job to work with them.
How do we work with them?
Gabby Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
We're here at B Street Studios. This is our studio name, B Street Studios. And we are going to talk about guides, spirit guides, which is a topic that we talk about a lot. You channel guides.
I do.
For someone who's never heard of this before, what does that mean?
It means that I am able to tap into your universal team on the other side. We all have them. Team of besties, here to help us, hear our higher self, follow guidance that is given to us from them. Nobody is without guides.
Okay.
We all have them. So when I'm channeling them, I am pretty much hearing what they need to tell you in order for you to hear guidance through your higher self to navigate through your life.
And the guides could be ancestors or angels.
Ancestors,
or energy of
angels,
love.
higher level energy, light beings, all kinds of figures of faith, all kinds of different translations. At the end of the day, for me, they are pure light. And some have walked this earth before, some have not, but they are here for you. They are assigned to you for a reason.
I know that I have a guide that was assigned to me. Her name is Lily. She's a beautiful blonde goddess. She really is. She's like this young, like just beautiful presence. And so I know all about her. And then I know that my grandmother Fritzie is a guide. Wayne Dyer is one of my guides. Louise Hay is one of my guides. I've felt the presence of Gandhi at times. Joan of Arc is a presence. Sometimes I just feel like a masculine presence in the room, and it's another guide, right? I just sense this masculine energy. So how might someone know that a guide is present with them?
Well, you have to first trust that you have access to your guides. The inner knowing of having one near you or within your life has to come through a belief system that just accepts the fact that you can and are in conversation with your guides. And hearing their words of encouragement and discerning the difference between your own brain, that can be filled with fear, doubt, expectations, disappointment, is different than what you are hearing from your guides. And when you tap into that, it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. The flow of the knowing, you have to condition yourself to accept it. At first, of course, you're going to question it. We're speaking to some energy on the other side that we cannot see.
Yeah.
But once you trust that and they show you how good they are and what they can take you to, when you say yes, that doubt will leave. It will soften.
Could you start by kind of calling it intuition?
You can start by calling it intuition. I feel like our guides are helping us access our intuition. And if you can get ahead of that a little bit, hindsight is a great way to hear what your guides were trying to tell you. Maybe you didn't listen.
Oh, cool.
And so you're thinking in your head, oh, I knew I should have taken that job. I knew I should have stopped that relationship. I knew I should have said no or yes.
I wish I'd said that.
Right. That is your guides. That's your inner knowing being accessed, and they're helping you do that. So if you can get ahead of that, that's a wonderful way to access your guides' information, and then it becomes instinctual. And we create this relationship where we're not so consciously thinking about who is my guide in this moment, what is it that they're trying to tell me. Instead, we're saying, I know exactly what I need to do because I trust my intuitive self, and I know my guides are with me, and I'm ready to move forward.
Can feel really speedy, and
Yes.
it's like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
answer. Do you feel very certain about the messages?
There's a certainty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a certainty.
Authority.
And when you try to push out of that, it feels uncomfortable.
It's icky, yeah.
Yeah, you know it. You can hear in the back of your head, you know you shouldn't be doing that. You know, but we're telling you. But we always, we don't always
You have
hear
free
what we
will.
want to hear. Yes,
Yep.
free will, accountability is a big deal when it comes to your relationship with your guides. You have to be accountable for what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. This is your life. You have written this role, and it's your job to work with them.
How do we work with them?
Meditation, conversation, consistent spiritual practice, automatic writings where you're directly channeling from them, trusting again that they are there, and taking action. When you hear that guidance and you're within that flow, that's on you.
Yeah.
You have to take the action behind that. I think a lot of people sit and wait. I'm receiving, but I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Do I think that receiving is absolutely, we want to sit and receive, we're not grasping for anything, but
take
you
the
have to
action
take
on
the
the
action
guidance
when
that you
you
receive.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think that first it's about developing alignment with their frequency.
You have to recognize that frequency as being something really important too, because you're there for a reason. And if you're not acknowledging the frequency that you're in, then you're trying to get out of a possible learning lesson. You're getting out of something that your guides are trying to show you. And that's another opportunity for you to tap in. That's a great time to rely on your spiritual tools too.
Yeah.
Pulling cards and writings and all those
Oh,
things.
I have so many fun stories of like how guys just like woke me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so when I was writing my first book, Add More Ink to Your Life, I was living in the studio apartment. I was coaching in that apartment. It was just a Zen den. And I had this, and oh God, it's so gross to think about the fact that like people put their handbags on my bed. But I had my futon mattress, and I remember I was struggling to figure out how to write the book because I'd never written a book before. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the night, I woke up and had this intuition to walk to the bookshelf. And I had this huge wall, built-in bookshelf filled with books. And a lot of those books, I'd say about 30% of the books on that bookshelf came from a deceased friend. So I had a friend called Lauren in early sobriety, who's a guide for me now. She might just be here right now. And Lauren was very much like the sponsor to everybody. You know, she was like the one we looked up to. She was my age, but she's like, she had more recovery than me. She'd been sober since she was 19. I got sober at 25. Like, she was like gorgeous and just everything. And she had a heart condition, and she just died running with her boyfriend when she was in her early 20s. And I remember I went to Lauren's house. I packed up all of her books. Her family had already been through it, and so it was just sort of like what's left. And I went in, I packed up all of her books, and I was like, I'm going to give these out to my students. I'm going to carry her message. So I had all of Lauren's books on the wall. And so I didn't know every book that was there. So in the middle of the night, I think Lauren was the guide that woke me up. And I walked over to the shelf, and I put my hand on the shelf, and my hand got hot on this book. And I pulled the book out, and it was Shakti Gawain's book, and it was Living in the Light. And that book was so simple, and it was so clear, and each chapter was outlined with such simplicity. It was the exact guidance I needed to figure out how to create the outline for Add More Ink to Your Life. And Lauren did that. Yeah. I dedicated that book to Lauren, actually.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so like that's a great example of like, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, why do I need to go to the bookshelf? Well, go to the shelf and put your hand on the bookshelf, and if it's hot, read it. You know, or if the book falls off the shelf. How many people have told you like your books have fallen off the shelf?
Right on their head. Right on their head. It is, they're to the point, and they are direct, and they will nudge.
They'll nudge.
And absolutely, will continue to nudge. Your loved ones are coming in with tons of encouragement. They're talking to you about everything's going to be okay. Just stay on the path. Follow your heart. Know that we are here. When you hear that direction of go to the bookshelf and grab this book now, that's a guide. That's a guide who is there to not only help you, but to wake you up. When I wrote my books, both of my books, I heard, wake them up. Wake them up. Write a book. Wake them up. And I thought, you know, write a book. I'm not a writer. Write a book. Write a book. Write a book.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And it was, and I'm so grateful to say yes to it. Give them more.
Yeah.
Teach them, because I kept manifesting with my guides. I want to teach.
Yeah.
I want to show people how to make this connection. So I'm so grateful for this team. It's very comforting to have them.
And the team she's referring to, people, is the team.
The team.
The
universal
that's your next
team.
book.
The team.
The team.
The team.
Your team.
The next book.
The next
Yes.
book. The next book.
I'll keep them coming.
So good. Yes. Okay. So you're so grateful for the team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every day.
It's like this beautiful Course in Miracles line. It said, if you knew who walked beside you on this path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible.
That's right.
Boom.
That's right. Because they are here to help us navigate through the roughest and most horrific times in our lives. They're also here to celebrate with us. So when you are feeling, I often hear people say, I'm so blocked, I can't hear them. That's a big one. I'm blocked. I don't hear my guides. I don't know who they are. You don't have to know who they are. You just have to know that they are there. And if you can find a pinpoint of light and guidance, something, whether it be something that you're downloading or through another person because they work through other people to get to you, that should be validation for you, and you need to run with that. You need to run with that validation and know, wow, this is happening.
Let's talk about how guides work through people, right? So like I have, oh my God, so many situations where I'm like, where even early on in my career, where like these young women would flood into my studio, and I'd be like, intuitively be like, your deceased mother brought you here. Like it would just be so loud, you know? And that a lot of times I think like mediums in particular are being used through spirit because there's a portal to you to come through to give a message. But that's happening all over the place, right? Like
everybody has psychic abilities. Everybody is able to tap into their own psychic self, their higher knowing, and they're able to download information, not only for themselves, but yes, for others. And the way that can come in is through, hey, I just felt called to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, I had a dream about you last night. And it was about the fact that you need to do some breath work or do some meditation, or I just felt like you needed a hug today. That is all of our loved ones and guides helping others through person to person, helping others through each other, right?
Yeah.
When you're a psychic medium, you are connecting in a frequency that allows you to get the download, know where it's coming from, and give that information over to somebody. I felt such a calling to do this work. I've always known that I can do it. It was just a matter of understanding how to learn how to do it. And that's how I did that. But we all have the ability to download for ourselves and make connection with our guides and loved ones that are ours. Every single one of us can do that.
If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.